There's always a reason as to why a child has failed a math test. And as a former teacher today, I'm going to go ahead and tell you what those reasons are and what you can do in order to fix that and take preventative measures to make sure that this does not occur again. So, the reason is going to be the root issue. And this could be a few different reasons. So, one reason why students typically will fail their math test is because there's a lack of foundational understanding. So, this can come from a variety of different places and a variety of different reasons. The biggest one that we are seeing right now is the aftermath of the pandemic. And so, a lot of kids, there was some things that they missed in those core essential years, and their foundation is full of all these little holes and gaps, things that they missed. And as a result, they are now struggling and it's showing now. Math just typically, it will always layer one after another from year to year, from concept to concept. And so it's just always building on top of itself. And it's always expanding, it's getting further, deeper, and deeper into a specific task or skill or topic. And so when you have these holes, that is when it becomes really, really hard for a student to continue into the learning and perform at grade level because they have all of these current existing holes, and the math at the level they need to be at is going to be more challenging, right? So that's reason number one. Reason number two kind of falls into a different category, and it's because your child is in survival mode. So now a lot of parents don't really think about this. They just think that perhaps their kid's not paying attention in school. Perhaps, they don't have a good teacher. Perhaps they just art and math is not their strong subject and it's not their strong suit. Whatever that may be, yes, these may have some truth to it. This may also be a factor, but the root cause is not that they're not paying attention. It's not that they're being lazy. It's not that they're just never good. They haven't been good at math. It's that they don't know how to get out of that survival mode. They've always been in survival mode, right? No kid wants to be failing. No kid wants to have a low grade. So they're always going to play survival mode just to get something turned in, just to complete their homework, just to turn in and finish the test, right? So they've never learned how to properly rewire their brains, if that makes sense. So let's kind of take a step back. What a lot of kids do, and this is what leads to them failing the test, is when it comes time to the homework and the classwork, they're again in survival mode, which means they're just trying to pay attention. They're trying to do their best. When it comes to the classwork, they're just kind of copying down what's on the board. When it comes to the homework, perhaps they're doing the same thing and they're either just copying down what's on the homework, looking at a friend's page as the answer key, just kind of copying somebody else's homework, or perhaps they're literally just copying and pasting blindly from, what we learned in class. Okay, I know what to do. This is how we did it in class, so I'm going to do it this way on homework. And then great. But when it comes time to the test, they completely bomb it, right? So let's say even if your kiddo is focused and they're a hard worker and it's not any of the distractions, it's not that they're not understanding to do their homework, because I still hear a lot of parents say, my kid does their homework and it's just fine. Everything works out great on their homework and the classwork they understand, but when it comes time to the test, they just bomb it, right? So again, there's always a reason as to why something's happening, right? And so in this case, again, it goes back to that survival mode is what I call it. They know what the concept was or what the lesson was for the day. So they know how to mimic, right? They've memorized the steps as to what they did in class, and they can directly translate it onto the homework, right? They don't understand the real why. They don't understand why they're adding and subtracting. They don't understand why they're taking the reciprocal or the root of a number. They don't understand why they're doing the math. They just know and have memorized the steps as to what you do. They know that to solve for x, you're going to divide both sides by 6 and then you're done, right? Or they know that when you're finding area, they know that you're multiplying these two numbers and you're always multiplying it, right? But then the minute that kind of shifts over and now it's asking for a different part of the problem and it's giving you the area and one of the side lengths and it's asking you to solve for the other side lengths, their brain just goes blank because they've always just been like, okay, take the two numbers, multiply. But as soon as the question starts to ask something different, because they never understood the key foundations and the roots of it, they're just going to, again, in that survival mode of, oh, easy, just take the two numbers and multiply, right? So this is what oftentimes happens on the test when they know what to do in class, they know what to do in class, they know what to do today, they understood what happened today. They're able to do all of these skills kind of individually, but the minute you start to mix it up, and give them a few different types of those problems, they don't know what to do because it's all very different. So the biggest takeaway from this is that they haven't learned why they're doing what they're doing, right? And so this is a big piece in math. You always want to know why we're doing something so that as the math stacks and it gets harder year after year and it all kind of builds upon each other, it goes from like a one step to a two step to a multi step type of problem, then you're going to need to know why we're doing what we're doing so that when you get to those more upper, higher level challenging problems, you can kind of go back in your brain and you know what to do in what situation. It's not just that survival mode of, well, we were just multiplying the two numbers in class, so I just multiplied the two numbers now, right? It's actually using those critical thinking skills, developing those problem solving skills, and really learning how to sit, look at the numbers, understand what the question is asking. This is also another key piece. A lot of kids do not understand what the question is asking. So yes, they may know how to do the math, but again, kind of that example of the area that I had just given you, that's like one of the most common examples that I like to give, where they know how to find area. You just multiply the two numbers, the base and the height. But when it comes down to now going from area and going backwards to finding what those pieces are, they're not stopping and reading the question. They just know that this is a test on area. They just know they've been doing area for the last couple of weeks in class. So again, they just know, take those two numbers and multiply, but they don't stop and think about what the question was asking. It says, what is the length? And they're going to answer with what the area was, right? And so typically, this is where kiddos get stumped. And then the last piece is kind of like, does the answer make sense? A lot of times kiddos don't stop and see if their answers make sense, right? So they're used to doing the math a certain type of way, and they're just doing the math. Survival mode just means do it and turn it in, right? So it's do it, I'm done, next. But if they actually stop, right, getting out of that survival mode, if they actually stop and double check their answers, right? This is a lot of kids. Double check means looks good, moves on. That double check is like a 5-second double check, right? But no, if you actually spend time rewiring your brain, properly learning how to double check, right? Looking at the question, right? Ensuring that you double check, okay, wait, what is the question asking me? Okay, it's asking me how many feet. Okay, then going back to your answer and you're like, is my answer in feet? Wait, no, it's not. I didn't convert or whatever it is, right? So then they're able to catch this automatically just by learning how to properly double check, right? Or it's, does my answer make sense, right? So now they're going to look at their answer. Does my answer make sense? If I ended up getting 580 for my answer and they go look back at the problem, they're like, wait a minute, that doesn't really match what the problem's asking, right? That doesn't make sense in the problem. So they know that they've made an error. They know that they need to go adjust and tweak. And typically that's the part that they can figure out, because if they've memorized all the pieces and steps to do, they're going to know, wait, oh, I wasn't supposed to do this method. I was supposed to do this other thing. So really, it's just going back and teaching them the right ways. I will go ahead and make another video to kind of give you guys more direction on things that you can do, how to rewire their brain from survival mode, and things that you can do to help them with the test. But again, before you can figure out what you need to do to help your kiddo with the test, you have to go backwards. You need to go backwards and figure out what those issues are. And again, everything I'm sharing with you guys, it's things that I do, things that I've done over the past several years, and things I'm currently doing in my academic coaching and tutoring classes. So if you need additional help or support, I would love to help you. I am offering a free consultation call. So if you're interested in that, interested in a little bit of extra support, or just want to pick my brains, go ahead and click on the link down below. Otherwise, stay tuned for that video for next week, where I kind of go over and show you exactly what you need to do and how you can kind of switch your kiddo's brain to go from survival mode into having a successful math test, right? And getting out those foundational pieces, as I mentioned before, or that's kind of a whole nother can of worms. I will be making another video in the future as to how you can fill in those foundational gaps. So as always, please like, share, and subscribe. Drop any comments you guys have, or any questions you guys have in the comments. Questions in the comments. And I'll be making some more future videos.